Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with another edition of The Longest War. This is our series of Warhammer 40,000 battle reports. This is battle report number 17. It is a 1,000-point battle that is fought between my buddy Death with his Eternus Vita, with his Daemons of Tzeentch, versus yours truly with my watch company Tertius of the Deathwatch. We're throwing it down at 1,000 points for a retrieval mission, so we'll be going because of these guys again. The last time I went because Daemons of Tzeentch, I was packing a Imperial Guard army, so I'm pretty excited to see exactly what a Deathwatch army can do. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for each of the army lists, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So with that being said, let's get this on. Alright, so let's go talk about the mission tactics real quick, as well as the scenario for this one. As you can see, we're playing on a 4x4 table. As you can see, there's also 4 objectives placed throughout the table. This is a retrieval mission. The scenario is actually pretty straightforward. There are 4 objectives spread throughout the table, and the objective is to take and to hold the objective. You consider objective being yours if you have troops within 3 inches of it. Of course, if anybody also attacks that same objective, you have to fight to see who maintains control of it. This battle report goes for 5 rounds, and then of course in the very 6th round you roll d6 to see if it goes another round or not. For each objective you take and hold, you get 3 victory points for that part. Also, the usual rules apply. You get 1 victory point for slaying your enemy general with Slay the Warlord. Get 1 plus victory point for First Blood, being the first guy destroyed enemy unit, as well as plus 1 victory point for Line Breaker, which means that you're within your enemy's deployment zone as well. So with the scenario rules over with, let's go ahead and talk about the battle plan for this one. Alright, so here's the overhead shot of the battlefield. As you can see, I am deployed on the near side of the board. My friend Death is deployed on the far side of the board. We both have an objective in each of our deployment areas, and then the other 2 objectives are clearly closer to my opponent Death in this case. So I have to make him a lot of ground in order to catch up to him and to get those objectives. Pretty much my plan for this one is the same kind of plan I've been running so far with my Deathwatch. I have 3 units in the Teleportarium, 2 of my kill teams, and 1 Dreadnought. My plan is to get my enemy stuck in a pincer attack where I have kill teams attacking from the front as well as kill teams attacking from the back with the Dreadnought as well, and hopefully catch them in a crossfire and destroying that way. My plan is to actually secure my objective in my deployment area and then have my kill team sweep over to the left and right and secure those objectives as well. My opponent has his pink hordes located in that center objective, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get to because that unit just doesn't die. But at the same time, though, you know, I'm playing against demons, so I'm not sure what else I'm expecting. So with the battle plan over with, let's go talk about deployment real quick. So, starting with deployment left-hand side, this is Kill Team Kroll. It's a 5-man kill team leading the front of it. That captain, the sergeants are with the plasma, combat plasma, as well as Xenophase sword. These guys are kind of like my little tactical squad. They have bolt guns with chain swords in this unit, as well as a a twin lightning claw wielding, what you call it, Vanguard veteran. Also located here is Chaplain Cassius on the left-hand side, as well as epistolary guys on the right-hand side to lend some support for my leaders. At the same time, the right hand side is kill teams like Kaon. That is another little tactical kill team. I got Stalker Bolter, Pattering Bolt Guns in there. I also have a Head Furnace Heavy Bolter, as well as a Black Shield with a Power Maul and Storm Shield, and is led by a Sergeant Armor with a Plasma Pistol, as well as a Xenophase Blade. And if you also notice there too, I also got Watch Captain Artemis. That's where my general is located for my army on this one. The rest of my armies, Kill Team Cruad, as well as Kill Team Dothros, as well as Nihilist, the Black Shield, my Vulnerable Dreadnought there, the Teleportarian, waiting for him to come back down to rain chaos upon the earth. Alright, so let's talk about the deployment for the Daemons of Tzeentch real quick. On the left hand side of my unit, my opponent's Odeth has deployed his 2 units of Zangor. Up in the front he has the Changelings, and right behind them is another 10-man unit of Zangors called the Chanters of Change. So that's his left hand deployment. Also on the right hand side is his General Kairos Fate Weaver. He's kind of dangerous too because he brings D3 additional command points on this one. So I believe my opponent's rocking 8 points in this this battle port. Well, now I'm packing 5. Well, actually, I'm packing 3 because 2 because all my stuff is. I'm having 8. I apologize. I have 8 command points, but 3 of them have been used up to put my units in the Teleportarian, leaving me 5 more command points to use. And so that's my opponent's deployment here on the left-hand side. In the center, he has his Dunwich Horrors, which is a unit of 10 pink horrors, and he also has his Herald of Tzeentch as well. That is Caliban, the Horror Ship of the Wastes. He's located there, securing that center objective, and that's going to be kind of hard to take because pink horrors don't die. They just split into blue horrors, and then split into brimstone horrors. They just keep on going into impunity, so it's going to be kind of hard to take that objective. And on the right-hand flank, he has the rest of his demon forces. On the left-hand side is the colors out of space. His 3 screamers. In the middle is the Shadow of Innistrad, which is his burning chariot. And the right-hand side, that's the space out of colors, which is another unit of 3 screamers as well. And they're still getting ready to secure that right-hand objective. And that pretty much makes the deployment for this one. So with deployment phase over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and we roll for initiative to see who goes first. Alright, so this is the top of turn number 1. Daemons of Tzeentch managed to steal the initiative on this part, so my friend Odeth starts moving up his forces appropriately. On the left-hand side, he advances with the Chanters of Change as well as the Changelings, so Zangors get within range of that objective, so they secure objective number 1, lock down their area. At the same time, he also moves up Kairos Fate Weaver, has him fly to the top of that alien woods right there, so that way he could rain down some destruction upon my army using his Saki abilities. And also in the center, he leaves his Dunwich Horrors exactly where they are in the center there, because they have no reason to move. And on the right hand side, he starts flanking over forward with his flyers. He sends in the colors out of space as well as the Shadow of Innistrad in order to secure objective number 2 right there in the right hand flank, and then he sends the space out of colors advancing forward over to the right hand side as well to provide additional pressure on my right hand flank. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. Alright, here's a close-up of the Chanters of Change as well as the Changelings securing that objective, as well as Kairos Fate Weaver getting ready to bring the destruction in the psychic phase. And here's a close-up of Caliban, the Horror Ship of the Waste, with his Dunwich Horrors blocking down their objective in the middle of their deployment area. And finally, a close-up of the colors out of space, the Shadow of Innistrad, and the space out of colors getting ready to assault my right-hand flank. So with move phase over with, we go directly to the psychic phase. And starting up the psychic phase, he takes his Herald of Tzeentch and casts Boon of Change onto the Dunwich Horror, so now that unit has +1 attacks, and that's just in case if my units decide to rain down in his back end to deep strike to cause any problems. So very powerful ability off on those pink horrors. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Kairos Fate Wielder does give out the spell. I forgot what the spell's called, but it gives you a +1 to hit when you're trying to wound, is what it is doing. So these Zangors, if they decide to shoot their auto pistols, they get +1 to wound against my Deathwatch, which makes it a 4-up to wound in this case, because those Strength 3 auto pistols have become Strength 4, so that's kind of dangerous as well. Fate Weaver does try to cast Bolt of Change, was unable to do so, so because of that, he then casts Smite next. And as you can see in this photo, he managed to kill one of my Deathwatch kill team members as well. I believe he just killed a Deathwatch member armed with a bolt gun and chainswords ended up doing. When he tried to cast Boon of Change, I unbound it with my librarian as well, so I was able to do that. But unfortunately, I lost one of my kill team members. Since there is no charge phase because everything advanced forward, there is no fight phase and the battle shock test because Space Marines and Space Marines don't break. Nobody runs away from my army, and pretty makes up a pretty eventful turn number 1 for the Daemons of Tzeentch. So on the bottom of turn number 1, for Deathwatch, the very first thing I do before I move anything is I activate my Warlord's command abilities. You spend 3 command points for the Orbital Bombardment ability, which allows me to inflict a orbital strike from space onto any one point of the battlefield within d6 inches of that point, and it can also cause mortal wounds to those enemies, so long as I don't move my Warlord. So because of that, I don't move yet. I decide to use that ability onto Kairos Fate Weaver. I rolled a 6 to see if I hit him or not, so because of that, he doesn't take 3 mortal wounds on that part, so that part was kind of nice. A little bit of payback for killing my my bolt gun wielding Deathwatch veteran that he managed to kill in the last psychic phase. And at the same time, I also managed to kill 2 Zangor at the same time from the changelings, so that's a nice little thing to kind of like as a nice little consolation prize. So with that being said, we do go on with the rest of the move phase now. And as you can see from this overhead picture, there has been some dramatic movement taking place. The first thing I decided to do is I managed to keep Watch Cat Artemis as well as Kill Team Zychaeon. I keep them exactly where they're located at. Kill Team Zychaeon has a heavy Infernus Bolter as well as 2 Stalker Pattern Bolt Guns. So to move those guys doesn't really make me any good because it makes me -1 to hit. So I keep them exactly where they're at because they're laying down some long range fire onto the Shadow of Innistrad as well as the 2 units of Screamers. At the same time, I also move up my left hand unit, Kill Team Krull, along with Chaplain Cassius as well as Epistolary guys. I move them so that way they take cover there amongst that demon infested wood there on the left hand side, so that way they get some cover away from the shooting from the Zangor. On the backfield where my opponent's deployment area is, I did drop down Kill Team Kruad on the left hand side, as well as Nihilus, my black shield, put him right there on the left hand side to take on the Zangor as well as Kairos Fate Wielder. And on the right hand side, I also bring down Kill Team Dothro so that way they can use their frag cannons and the rest of their melted guns against those Screamers as well as against that Exalted Flaming Chariot. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this part. Here's a close-up Watch Cat Artemis and Kill Team Zychaeon managing to hold on to the objective that's in my deployment area. And here's a close-up of Kill Team Kruad, Kill Team Krull with the Epistolary guys as well as Chaplain Cassius taking cover in that Demon's Wood there on the left-hand side. And here's a close-up of Kill Team Kruad as well as Nihilus the Black Shield, getting ready to bring some pain here on the left-hand flank and the back of my enemy's fighting formations. And here's a close-up of Kill Team Dothro, about to bring the pain onto those flying units for my opponent. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the psychic phase. In the psychic phase, Epistolary guys managed to get off the Wrath of the Ancients as well as Smite off onto Skorkalikos. Managed to put 6 more mortal wounds onto that guy. Not Skorkalikos, I'm sorry. Onto Kairos Fate Wielder. Managed to put 6 more mortal wounds on that guy, so that part was absolutely fantastic to see that happen. Fortunately, my friend O'Death, he just kind of rolled horribly for his unbinding rolls. Because of that, I was able to get off those psychic abilities on him. In the shooting phase on the left-hand side, it ended up being an absolute slaughter for my opponent, O'Death. First of all, starting off with Kill Team Kruad, they managed to wipe out the rest of the changelings, so that part was kind of cool as well. So I managed to net that first blood victory point for my forces. At the same time, Kill Team Krull, which is in the Kruad, which is in the back there next to the statue of the King in Yellow, they opened up and managed to kill 6 members of the Zangors from the Chanters of Change as well. And since because the closest enemy unit to Nihilus the Black Shield was Kairos Fate Weaver, I opened up with both last cannons. Both last cannons managed to hit. They also managed to wound as well, and managed to atomize that General Wrath of the table. So because of that, the entire left-hand flank for my enemy's army has now suddenly disintegrated. At the same time, on the right-hand flank, I opened up with Kill Team Dothros onto that unit, the Space Out of Colors, which are 3 Screamers, managed to wipe out that unit as well. So that part was kind of neat. Now, in the charge phase, I do try to charge all my forces inward, but unfortunately I failed on my charges, so because of that, there is no charge phase and there is no fight phase, so we go directly to the Battle Shock phase. And as you can see in this photo, the rest of those Zangors just ran for the hill because of all the casualties they took. And that pretty much makes up the morale phase for this round. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Demons of Tzeentch. Alright, so with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Demons of Tzeentch. And the very first thing my opponent O'Death does, they use the summoning ability for his Herald of Tzeentch and manage to summon up another unit of 3 more Screamers, so the Space Out of Colors is back upon the battlefield again. So that part was kind of rough as well. Now, if you're wondering about paying points in order to bring things onto the unit, I know some of you guys will say, hey, you got to pay reinforcement points to summon up Demons of Demons. For my gaming group, we don't use those kind of points. Now, a lot of you guys will say, oh, you can't do that. That's whatever the case may be, you guys. That's how we play in my group. If they're able to summon units, we let them summon them without restrictions because that's just the way we roll in my gaming group. So no harm, no foul. It's all for fun anyways. So you see there are 3 more Screamers on the table now. At the same time, he also burns through more of his command points. Instead of having, I believe, instead of having 12 command points, he's now down to 10. And he uses it for the activate that ability where your character can do summoning back to back in this case. So because of that, he decides to summon up another unit. And this time he brings on Skrulkalikos, another Lord of Change, onto the table as well. So now there's another unit Lord of Change. He did roll doubles for that in order to bring that guy up. So because of that, his herald does suffer a mortal wound. But, you know, a small price to pay to bring up another general onto the tabletop. So that part was pretty bad as well. So with the summoning over with, we go directly to the movement phase. As you see in this photo, there has been some dramatic movement. My opponent decides to move everything to the upper right hand corner because that's where he feels like the most threat is. The first thing he does, he advances with both the colors out of space as well as the space out of color. So those two units of Screamers fly directly over to Kill Team Dothros. Managed to put a mortal wound onto one of my Space Marines, so managed to kill one of those guys from that kill team as well. At the same time, he also flies over Skrulkalikos onto the top of that Demon Wood, so that way he can bring some pain during the second phase onto Kill Team Dothros. And that pretty much makes up the move phase on this part. Alright, here's a close-up of the colors out of space and the space out of colors flying over Kill Team Dothros and killing one guy. You can also see that the Shadow over Innistrad has also turned around too to bring its full bearing upon that unit as well. And that's really the only movement that really took place for my opponent. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the Psychic phase. In the Psychic phase, my opponent decides to cast Boon of Change again, once again putting +1 attack onto the unit of Pink Horrors over here on the left-hand side. And I forgot what other spells my opponent decided to use for his Psychic ability, but he managed to kill 2 more members of Kill Team Dothros using various Psychic abilities onto that unit as well. So now Kill Team Dothros is reduced only to a Terminator as well as 1 guy armed with a frag cannon, so that's pretty bad. So with the second phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. As you see in this photo, just the combination of fires from the Exalted Chariot, Burning Chariot, was enough to kill the last 2 members of Kill Team Dothros as well, so that part was kind of sad. Now, because pretty much everything advanced, there is no charge phase, and since there is no charge phase, there is fight phase, and since nothing else took casualties, there is no morale phase. That pretty much rounds up turn number 2 for the Demons of Tzeentch. So, the bottom of turn number 2 for the Deathwatch. As you can see in this photo, I do some dramatic movement as well. I keep kill teams I can, as well as Artemis watching over my objective number 1. However, I do advance forward up with kill team, so not advance forward, I just move up the normal movement allowance, I apologize. With kill team Krull, they manage to secure objective number 2. I also bring up Cassius as well as Pistolary Gaius in order to bring up support. At the same time, I move over Nihilus over his normal movement allowance to the right. Same thing with kill team Kruad. Those guys move up so that way they can get within lines of fire of the Pink Horrors as well as Skrulkalikos, the Ward of Pathways as well. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. Here's a close-up of kill teams I can, as well as watch Captain Artemis still watching over objective number 1 in the middle of my deployment area. And here's a close-up of kill team Krull with Pistolary Gaius as well as Chaplain Cassius securing objective number 2 on the left-hand side of the battlefield. And finally, here's a close-up of Nihilus as well as kill team Kruad getting ready to bring the pain down into the Pink Horrors and the Dunwich Horrors in the middle of the table. Psychic phase was a wash because I was out of range, but during the shooting phase, as you can see, I managed to wipe out half the units of the Pink Horrors, but all I managed to do in that sense, though, was just create more Blue Horrors. So once again, the multitudinal hordes of Pink Horrors are starting to show up really quick onto the center area. So that pretty much makes it the shooting phase on this side. So, feeling a little more than frustrated, I decided to charge. In the charging phase, as you can see in this photo, Kill Team Kruad managed to charge to the front of the Dunwich Horrors, while Nihilus also managed to charge into the backfield of the Pink Horrors as well, engaging those guys in close combat. So, with charge phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. And as you see in the combat phase, things went sideways on me. I did manage to kill a couple more Pink Horrors, which also made more Blue Horrors, and I also managed to kill some Blue Horrors that made some Brimstone Horrors. But in the end, they were able to kill my bike as well as one of my Deathwatch veterans, so that part was kind of sad. And luckily for me, no one was able to put anything onto Nihilus, so this unit of Pink Horrors is still holding on to the objective. In the morale phase, I automatically passed my morale phase pretty quickly because I'm just a boss that way, and plus my Space Marines and we don't break. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Demons of Tzeentch. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Demons of Tzeentch. This photo is taken after the move phase. As you can see, some more movement have taken place for the most part. The first thing he does is he advances with the colors out of space as well as the space out of colors. Those 2 units of Screamers fly directly over my kill team Kruad in order to cause some problems. But unfortunately for my buddy Odeth, he wasn't able to cause any mortal wounds doing that. At the same time, he also flies over Skrulkalikos, the Warden of Pathways, directly in front of Nihilus and gets him engaged. He gets ready to put him engaged in close combat. And he also flips around the Shadow of Innistrad to make sure he secures objective number 3 on the right-hand side of the table. And that pretty much makes the move phase for the Demons of Tzeentch. And here's a close-up of all the action that took place in the center of the table, like I said earlier. He does advance forward with his screamers, wasn't able to cause any damage. He does try to summon up, I believe it was, he tried to summon up a unit of flamers, I believe is what he tried to do, but unfortunately for him, though, he was unable to get that roll off. I think he rolled like a 1, a 2, and a 1 again, I think is what he rolled. Managed to get another mortal wound put onto his Herald of Tzeentch, and not much really happened at that point. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of the psychic phase. And during the psychic phase, he burns through 2 more command points, which allows him to reroll any failed psychic tests during this test. So because of that, he wanted to use that for his psychic phase and kind of beef it up a little bit. And as you can see in this photo as well, I managed to put 6 mortal wounds onto Nihilus. It was a combination of different psychic abilities. I forgot the name of the psychic abilities were that they used onto Nihilus, but that was pretty horrible because now Nihilus only has 2 more wounds left before he dies, and that was absolutely horrible seeing that happen to my Dreadnought. Because I'm really counting my Dreadnought to bring the pain because he's the only really good combat-oriented character I have so far in this part of the tabletop. So in the shooting phase, it's pretty much a wash for my opponent, but in the charge phase, though, he decides to charge in Skrakalikos directly into Nihilus. So because of that, Nihilus and Skrakalikos will need to fight it out in the combat phase. As you can see, Skrakalikos had no problem just putting the wounds onto Nihilus. Nihilus did manage to attack first because he decided to attack with his pink horrors first against my Deathwatch veterans. I did manage to put a couple of wounds onto him as well, but in the end, Skrakalikos managed to win by killing my Dreadnought. But to add icing on the cake, my Dreadnought did explode, so that part was kind of cool, killing some Brimstone Blue as well as pink horrors, and also put him at 3 mortal wounds onto Skrakalikos, the Lord of Pathways as well. So I'll take that any day because now that put him over half his wounds being eaten up by that explosion, so that part was pretty awesome. Aside from that, though, combat was pretty lackluster between my kill team veterans against the rest of these pink horrors. So the nice part is all the pink horrors are gone, but the bad news is now I have a bunch of blue horrors as well as brimstone horrors I got to deal with as well. So that pretty much makes it the combat phase, and since demons don't break and neither do I, that pretty much makes it the morale phase. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Deathwatch. As at this point in the battlefield, I realized that keeping my forces so divided up was not such a good idea, so I decided to move forward. The first thing I do is I move up 6 inches with my kill team, kill team Zykaon. I move them up the normal moon allowance up to the right hand side so that way they can take some pot shots up on the Shadow of Innistrad, hopefully weaken him a little bit, and hopefully I can make a long distance long bomb charge because I'm about 9 to 10 inches away from that guy, so hopefully I can do that. At the same time, I also moved the normal 6 inches of kill team Kroll on the left hand side, put on the top of that Demon Woods so that way they can do some shooting against those Screamers here in a little bit. And I also move up Watchcat Artemis. I leave him behind to cover my objective, my deployment area. I left Cassius and Epistolary guys on the left hand side to watch their objective area, and of course the other 2 veterans who are engaged in close combat just kind of stuck there for right now. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. Here's a close on my left-hand side. I got Cassius as well as Agaius watching over the objective while Kill Team Kroll moves up to do some long-range shooting. And here's a close-up of Watchcat Artemis watching his objective while Kill Team Zykaon moves up to bring the pain to against the Shadow of Innistrad. And unfortunately, since I'm out of range of psychic tests, there is no psychic phase. So because of that, we go directly to the shooting phase. And all I gotta say in the shooting phase is that Kill Team Kroll is pretty deadly. As you can see in this shooting phase, they managed to put a couple of wounds onto the the space out of colors, and managed to kill one of those Screamers. So that part was kind of nice because Screamers are definitely hard to kill, especially with Tzeentch with their invulnerable saves of 4 up. They're very, very difficult to kill. Meanwhile, Kill Team Zykaon managed to put 3 respective wounds onto the Shadow of Innistrad. So that Chariot's still a problem, not dead yet, but at the same time, I'll take what I can get at this point. And all I gotta say in this photo are 3 words, baby. Deathwatch frag cannons. Oh my god. I opened up with the Deathwatch frag cannon using the frag shells upon Skrakalikos, the Warden of Pathways. Just the number of shots that thing can put out and the number of damage it does. Managed to wipe out that Lord of Change like it was nobody's business. So that part was kind of nice as well. So while Nihilus did die at the hands of the Lord of Change, he was avenged by Kill Team Kurad with their frag cannons. So that part was kind of cool as well. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the charge phase. Unfortunately, Kill Team Crow failed their charge phase. However, on the right-hand side, Kill Team Zykaon rolled a boxcars for their charge. So they made it across the battlefield and charged directly into the Shadow of Innistrad, putting that guy into close combat. And I'm looking forward to putting the beatdown on this Burning Chariot once and for all. So, as you can see in the combat phase, the rest of my kill teams that was at the top here, Kill Team Kruad, eventually got swarmed and destroyed by those Brimstone as well as Blue Horrors, so that part was kind of sad. Needless to say, the colors out of space, the space out of colors, one of the units of Screamers that took damage in the last turn, they managed to pass their morale test without any problems. At the same time, the right hand flank, I got really lucky, only managed to lose one of my kill team veterans, and we managed to put the last few wounds onto the Shadow of Innistrad, killing that unit right off the table. So that part was pretty awesome as well. And since I'm Space Marines, passing morale test is what we do, so because of that, I managed to survive that no problem. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Demons of Tzeentch. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Demons of Tzeentch. This photo is taken after the move phase. So, smelling blood in the water as well as desperation in the air, my opponent decides to move a couple of his forces around. First thing he does, he just moves up the Screamers from the colors out of space to the left hand side to take on Kill Team Kroll. At the same time, he also moves up his 2 remaining members of the space out of colors, his 2 Screamers, to deal with Kill Teams I Can as well. So he moves up those guys in order to put pressure on them. He does try to cast a, tries to get another, tries to cast another summoning ability as well to bring up more units on the table, but unfortunately he rolled 3 1s on that one, so wasn't able to bring up anything. Managed to put another mortal wound upon himself as well, so his Herald of Tzeentch is taking a lot of damage just from trying to summon things up by himself, so things are not looking very good for my buddy Odeth at this point. So here's a close-up of the right hand side with the space out of colors, getting ready to charge into Kill Teams I Can to try to secure objective number 3 over here on the right hand side. And here's a close-up of the colors out of space, moving over to the left hand side to deal with Kill Team Kroll. So things are looking pretty tough over here on this side as well. My opponent failed his psychic phase, so because of that we skipped that part. We skipped shooting as well and go directly to the charge phase. As you can see, the space out of colors decides to charge into Kill Teams I Can, engaging those guys in the close combat. And at the same time, the colors out of space also charge into Kill Team Kroll, so engaging those guys in the close combat as well. So with the charge phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. So as you can see in this photo, I do manage to kill one of the Screamers. The Screamers aren't able to kill any of my guys, so that part was kind of nice. But because there's your demons, they usually pass their morale checks without no problem. This needs to manage to stay there, to exactly hold their ground and keep on fighting. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, the Screamers do manage to kill one of my veterans and kill Team Kroll. But on the flip side, we also managed to kill one of their Screamers as well, so we're 1 for 1. And just like I said last time, both groups managed to survive their battle shock tests without any problems. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for the Deathwatch. So in the bottom of turn number 4 for the Deathwatch, the only movement I really do is I move up Cassius when I end up doing. So I take Chaplain Cassius, move into the middle of that demon one there on the left-hand side to lend some support for Kill Team Kroll. And that's the only move I really do in this battlefield at this point, because I'm trying to lock down and secure objectives. Here's a close-up of Cassius getting ready to bring the pain onto the colors out of space to lend some support for his brothers in arms for fighting against those demons. And in the psychic phase, using both the Fury of Ancients as well as the Smite ability, I managed to kill off one of those members of those Screamers from the colors of space, so that part was pretty intense as well. So with psychic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. So as you can imagine, the combined fires of Kill Team Kroll, exactly with my Chaplain Cassius, able to finish off that very last Screamer from the colors out of space. So that part was kind of nice. And the shooting phase over here with Kill Teams I Can was also wipe out the last remaining Screamer from the space out of colors. And really, what really did the damage wasn't so much the bolt gun fire. It was, oddly enough, it was actually the heavy flamer on the furnace bolter that actually has managed to put the last wound onto that guy. So that part is kind of cool as well. And we skip charge as well as fight phase, because at this point my buddy Odeth realizes there's no way he can win this battle report, so because of that he just surrenders at this point, and that takes us directly to the end of the game, securing a victory for the Deathwatch. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the after action report, because this battle report is now officially over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Alright people, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for the longest war, battle report number 17, and it being a victory for yours truly. So let's go and talk about our losses real quick. In the end, I lost Kill Team Dothros, Kill Team Kroll, as well as Nihilus the Black Shield, while my opponent Odeth lost Kairos Fate Wielder, Skrarkolikos of One of Pathways, the Changelings, the Chanters of Change, the colors out of space, and the space out of colors. When it came to the victory points, in the end, Odeth scored 3 victory points for holding on to his objective, earning him 3 victory points total, while for me, I managed to secure 3 objectives, managing the net 9 victory points, 1 victory point for slaying the enemy warlord, and 1 victory point for first blood and enemy, 11 victory points. In the end, the only reason why I won this battle was because of luck. That was the only reason why I was able to do so. Two things allowed this to happen. One was Nihilus blowing up. That was one of the big things that really helped me out to win this battle report. And two, Death's summoning miscasts were also a huge part as well. Nihilus exploding weakened up his newly summoned Lord of Change to recalling cost of Lord of Pathways. That allowed my frag cannons to finally finish that guy off and able to kill another Exalted Demon. So that was the nice part that kind of helped out for that. And also, because Death wasn't able to summon up any new units, he wasn't able to recuperate from any of his losses, and he wasn't able to also throw any additional units at me. So if he had the ability to bring in units on the table, this battle report would have turned out very, very differently in my opinion. In the end, my plan did kind of work out to catch my enemy's forces in a crossfire, so that part was kind of nice. I was able to destroy most of his forces very, very quickly by doing that. However, by doing that, it also left my kill teams too spread out without support, leaving them to be very vulnerable, and that's the reason why my kill teams were able to get chopped into pieces like that. So I gotta find some other way to kind of get around that. In the end, this was an excellent game. I love playing against my buddy Death, so he's an awesome opponent as always, and I'm looking forward to the rematch. As always, you guys, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also, check us out on Facebook, Google+, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest and greatest about the hobby news for our channel. That's going to do it for this one, you guys. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, and stay classy.